Match day jumpy, boots on turf. Coys in the cami, I'm putting in work. Cool like smoke from the capo's perch. South back shelling man, a vibe to berserk. See through at 8, flats get waved. Lokos, loco, they can't be tamed. Burgundy and blue run deep in veins. Rapids blood, it floods my brain. Roll cam early, the streets get live. Pre-game chaos, chance outside. During the game, it's war in the stands. Post-match scenes, pure mayhem, fam. Real with the vids, no cap, no filter. Mile high hotspot, I'm that builder. Voice of the fans, I ain't no poser. Denver streets to the pitch, it's culture. Leo Coys, that's the name. South Bang lad, I rep that flame. C38, Lokos wave. Colorado Rapids, we don't play games. Subscribe and lock it, never miss the vibe. It's the mile high hotspur. Rapids content raw and certified. Leo Coys.
Yes, you filthy animals. Let's be having you guys today. I am joined by my judgmental friend Jim. We will be joined later on by the homie driving the daddy shuttle, KTK, or you guys know him as Crash. We're going to dive right into this edition of Rapids with the homies. My name is Leo Coys. We have some stuff to talk about, my homie Jays. The Rapids made a signing. The Rapids blew a lead. And now the Rapids are heading into what seems like a whole new type of league play. The Leagues Cup. It is a different brand of football, whether it's your cup of tea or not. It is definitely added football to our schedule, and we're here to talk it. We're here to talk about it all, my homies. First, Jays, my homie, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Kind of a last minute invite. I was like, you know what? I'll take the call up again. It's the
Let's
second
do
week in
it.
a row, so I'm in the starting lineup. It looks like for now. Um, so no, I appreciate being here. It was a great weekend. So hopefully you're doing good as well.
Well, I just want to say, Jim, you're on form, homie. You're on form. So the on form players get the field time, my homie. We get the field time. Look, first of all,
Nice.
before we get into this edition, I do want to pay some respect to the Mile High Locos and to the C38, the supporters sections or the supporters clubs for the Colorado Rapids who put down the vibe when we're kicking it in the South Bank. So we just want to say big up to them. Big up to anybody that will be watching this show live, or if you're watching it back on replay, whatever time it is for you. Drop a like, my homies. We're trying to get this video pushed out there. So drop a like so more people can become fans like my homie Rob Patterson, which he will get the notification here later on, and he will be in the comments, the newest Rapids fan, all the way
Legend.
from Wales.
Legend.
So we're becoming worldwide with this one, my homies. You know what I mean? So little by little, the light goes goes really far to getting this content pushed out to people. Jay, what do you think about that? A Welsh Rapids fan, my homie. Let's go. Well, let's go. Jim's over there feeling around. We're gonna see what happens, my homies. But I did want to start off. I did tease a little bit. The Rapids made a signing. The Rapids end up making a signing. Let's see here. We're gonna bring Jay's back.
We're
You good, my
back.
homie?
Sorry about that. Yeah, technical difficulties at Judgmental Gym headquarters here in Glendale, Colorado. You had asked me a question, and then I had just completely disappeared. Bad PR on my front. I'll take the hit for that one. Yeah, you asked me about a Welsh Rapids fan. I know for a fact we have Rapids fans around the world for various different
Yeah.
reasons, whether people played FIFA with the Rapids, or they played Football Manager, or they just had an interest in MLS and the Rapids look like an interesting team. There's definitely those stories. Um, I think it's always good to expand the global nature of any club, whether that's the Rapids, whether that's the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, for example. Just any team that's local to you, where you can grow your name out on a global scale, is great. And if we can do our part as content creators to grow the team name a little bit, um, it it honestly feels great. It honestly feels great. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we welcome fans from any country, any background. That's always been our style. So
Yeah, fuck yeah, hell yeah. Big up the Pitties and the Pitties fans worldwide. Bro, the Rapids were a bit busy. We did talk about Cheeto last week, and this week now we could basically talk a bit about some incomings. We are rumored with one big name.
big one.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I would say it's a big name. That's a big name. I don't want to get into it right now. We will in a minute. But the one we are going to talk about, my homie, is Noah Cobb. I'm going to pull up his transfer market stuff here. But Jim, do you know much about Noah Cobb? I mean, I know he's a youngster. I wouldn't assume for us fans to know a lot about him. He's coming from an Eastern Conference team, anyways. It's not like he's a player we would have been seeing too much of, right, Jim? Or I mean, there's still some hype about this player if he's getting scouted by other teams.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about Noah Cobb. I'm not an Eastern Conference watcher. I'm not really a big MLS watcher outside of the Rapids. That just comes naturally for me. I like my teams. I'll try to watch MLS when I can. But Noah Cobb seems to be a very young signing. It's a loan move, which I'm excited about because it kind of gives us a little bit of wiggle room to see, well, if we like him, we have the option to buy him. If we don't like him, we
Mm.
have the option to get rid of him. That's nice. He is he's played a bunch of games for the
He
USA
has.
youth teams. Yep. I don't know how many to be honest. I know he's played around 50 games for the first team in Atlanta. So I mean he has MLS experience already. It feels very Rapids in it's a project signing a little bit,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
but there's still some pedigree there. I'm cautiously optimistic of this one. I don't have any big expectations. I don't think he's going to come in and absolutely dominate, but hey, if he does, then that's great. But I don't really have a lot of knowledge on this player. I don't really want to
Right.
speak on it, not knowing much. So it'll be
No,
interesting to see.
Jim, you're not wrong. I mean, bro, we definitely know. I don't think many people even saw this move coming. It kind of materialized very
Yeah,
quick, bro. There was no rumors, no links. Not like, I mean, we're not like this huge market where there's going to be all these in the know ITKs that are like constantly shooting off these Twitter, you know what I mean, reports. But the fact that he's come to the Rapids, my homie. You touched on something right there about his experience for being a younger person. We don't need to know much about him to see that he has 101 appearances. Some of them are in the USL, but he's played his whole career with Atlanta. 4 years now, or what is that? 5 years now going on. 101 appearances. Look, 3 goals and 1 assist. I mean, you're not going to expect a guy to come in and be a center back scoring all these goals. But what tells me that there, 185 centimeters. Don't know what that translates over to feet, but he's got to be a pretty lengthy kid there that's coming in to hopefully shore up some squad numbers. Is that what this more is in your opinion, Jim?
I would say depending on future moves, that this very well could be a squad player. Maybe a cup of coffee in Rapids too early on, just to get him going. But I really don't know a lot about him, Leo, to really give you an insight to say, he's gonna, uh, he's this, he's that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. I'm curious to see how he integrates in the squad in the coming weeks and coming days. That'll tell
I
me what's
think that's
going on.
probably gonna that I was about to say, I think that's probably gonna be the telltale signs there, right? Is he's coming into this Rapids locker room. Where is he gonna be placed at? Is he gonna start getting the minutes at Rapids too? I wouldn't have to say like he's gonna have to get too
I don't think the bar is that
acclimated
low.
to. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like I don't think he's got to get too acclimated. Like he could probably get, I would say, a bit more match fit and then get some minutes because um I mean, Cheeto leaving, we open up a huge spot there. Ian Murphy probably going to slide into that position for right now. But then again, at that point, somebody is going to need to slide into that Ian Murphy position. And I'm assuming it's going to be this kid. We have Michael Edwards out on loan. So I don't
Yeah,
think that we call that. You know what I
I
mean?
don't think that's
So
anything anymore, unfortunately.
yeah, no. So this kid is right now the next one in 9, behind Ian Murphy. What about the next link that the Rapids have kind of been flirting with? And Jay, you have been my go-to guy when it's been coming to hearing about this, homie. So
I don't want to be the
I'm
go-to
putting some
guy.
weight on your shoulders, Jim. I'm putting
Yeah,
the weight
yeah,
on your
yeah.
shoulders, Jim.
Yeah,
Um,
well, so to fact check everything and to put it out there, uh, I have not heard from a credible MLS voice of any sort that the move is done. I have seen trinkets of reports here and there in the back doors of soccer Twitter and the back doors of soccer chats and etc. that had said that essentially Sheffield United and I believe it was Wrexham was the other team interested.
Wrexham.
Um, yeah, I know. Fuck's sake. They had lost the bidding war, so that you know it doesn't really tell me much, but a lot of signs point to Rob Holding being a Colorado Rapids, and the reason why is his partner's going to Angel City FC from Wolfsburg, I believe. So obviously she's moving to the United States. It would kind of make sense to be the same kind of situation there. But money talks, and we'll see. But I am 85% positive that Rob Holding will be a Colorado Rapid here, maybe this week. I don't know. That's a bold call out. So if I'm wrong, I'm
I was
sorry. But
about to say that's a bold numbers there. Crash,
bold
you're
number
getting chucked
85's
right in.
high. I would say 65. I would say 65.
No turning back now, Jace. No turning back now, homie. People are gonna clip this and it's going viral.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Trash, my homie.
There he
Dig
is.
yourself up, bro. Hope you're doing well.
Hey,
Hope everything
fellas.
is good.
How's it going?
Doing good. Yeah, sorry for being delayed. Soccer is now upon us in the youth leagues, and daughter had first practice of the year, and we had a coaches meeting, so I was running a little behind, but glad I could join you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yo, Rob, we were bigging you up, my homie. We were bigging you up earlier. He said, "Sorry, I'm late, bro. Only just got
There
home
he
from
is.
walking the dog." Are
There
you
he
guys
is.
still saying soccer? Loving Wrexham right now. They are putting. I know he
Oh,
said this the other
he
day,
didn't
but
want to hear me earlier.
Yeah.
yeah, big up, Rob. Thank you for joining the stream, my homie. Thank you for joining the
Nice.
stream. He definitely putting Wrexham are definitely putting you guys on the map for sure, for sure. Crash, before you joined, bro, we just were kind of touching on the transfer that we just kind of got in. Um, I want to get your thoughts on that real quick, bro, before we kind of go on to the holding links, and then you just heard Judge Mental Judge bold 85 or 60%, depending on how
65,
he's feeling.
65.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, I was listening kind of while I was getting tied in here, and so I caught the first part of it. It's interesting. I think the Noah Cobb, I think is, I don't know. I'm not sure what to believe from that. It almost feels like an Ian Murphy kind of will take it situation where somebody who's young, who's got a few minutes and starts out there showing some relatively good quality. It seems like, but
Yeah.
isn't going to be your everyday starter. I'm. It seems that it is a little odd to me though that we're going to take somebody on loan that they're hoping to play. I would assume, right, to get minutes and with that depth with Ian there. So maybe this is just hedging our bets in case a Rob Holding signing doesn't work out. So maybe they wanted to have that extra depth just in case. I mean, worst case scenario, he's just going to be a rotational piece when needed. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. Maybe it was just an investment insurance kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I think the Rob Holding thing is everything that I'm seeing, it seems like it's, all signs point to the Rapids. I think Burgundy Wave had a really good update on the tracker this morning. For those who haven't seen it, but it did make a lot of sense, especially with his partner with in Angel City now. He mentioned the distance between their clubs in Europe is about the same as Angel City in here. So
Saw that.
it'd be a really consistent life change for them. So it wouldn't be crazy different. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what to believe of it and kind of where it's at. I think I'm excited, or maybe I think we just have to wait and see. But yeah, so I think it is fun though just to see some moves happening or potentially happening coming up.
Yeah. I'm my homie Greg, he hit me up and sent me the message, and I said I will unwillingly be rooting for him because of course we know his links to the red half of London, and but when he puts on the burgundy blue, I will throw all that out of the window, my homies, that's for sure. I want to see a player of that ilk, you know what I mean, of that pedigree. um Rob won't like this, but ditching teams or preferring to go to us over teams like a Wrexham or what was the other team that he was, Sheffield United or Wednesday, one of those teams.
Yeah,
Um,
United. Yep.
yeah, so that for me right there would be a huge grab if you would. That game though, what the F, Kinski best not leave on loan, but if he does, the Rapids only. I'm assuming he's talking about the Spurs game on the weekend. Rob actually watched his first Rapids game this weekend, my homies.
Oh.
He said he was gonna watch it. He ended up watching it. We already been in the comments discussing about it on a past video, and yeah, he was bummed out that on his I guess Rapids debut, if you will, they let him down, my homies. I guess that's a perfect way to segue into let's talk a little bit about the game, my homies. I made a video. I was telling Jim how I made a reaction video after the match, kind of just breaking it down as like everything was still fresh and raw in the mind. Um, I want to say that we got peppered up like some biscuits and gravy, my homies. We got peppered up. Jim, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
to you, my homie. What
Uh,
the hell were we watching, bro?
well, I was downtown with the boys, down at the Celtic, classic C38 style, right? Just go for it, go to the Celtic. Um, And you score the first goal, right? You're fired up, right? Navajo gets that diving header. The ball pings off. Paul Bassett hits it
Yeah.
right off the crossbar. Paul Bassett, as you notice, I say, not Cole Bassett. For those who have been watching a while, Cole Bassett tends to hit posts and crossbars and anything but the netting. Hopefully that'll change soon. I've been saying that for 3 years and hasn't. The, and so the ball bounces right off. Navajo dives right in. Great finish, great goal. But then they just get lazy after that. And it seems like the overall structure of what they were doing changed. And I had walked away from the game for a little bit. So I did miss the first Union goal and maybe the second Union goal, but I saw the third one, and boy, was I not happy. So maybe you guys can elaborate a little more. You probably didn't have as many alcoholic beverages as I did that night, and so you could probably comprehend what happened a little more. But
I may have had a few less, but I was actually I was out camping with the family
nice.
up in Steamboat area, and I did have cell phone reception, which was kind of fun. But I didn't watch it. I listened to it, so I just threw on Apple TV on my phone and listened. And it for me, I think the first half, just listening, there were it was true Rapids where we were actually playing the quality that I would expect against a top ranked East team. We were conceding a lot of chances, but we were absorbing the pressure as best we could. And then we took an opportunity, and we're able to get one in. And that it was not necessarily expected, although I did put a bet. I did put a bet out there for Hoffa to be the first goal scorer, which returned really well. I was happy to see that, made the day a little bit nicer. But that being said, going into the half 1-0, I was excited and I was like, all right, maybe we're gonna, actually keep the pressure on and keep putting, a quality performance into the second half. And I think Cole Bassett said it best in his post game interview. They just let the gas off. They just took their foot right off the gas and tried to absorb pressure. And we are not a team that's going to be able to do that, especially against the top ranked team in the East. So, at the end of the day, for the way I look at it is, got my little dude back here. I'm going to say hi.
Let's go.
But here, buddy, come on. So anyway, we're just really, we gave it up in the second half. As soon as Baribo let it go, that was it. And then I was like, okay, maybe we can see it out. And then, we all knew it was going to happen down in the final minutes. We were not going to, keep it at a 1-1 draw. So, and that's where I was at.
Yeah, big up. First of all, big up to the little homie. Hope he's well, bro. Hope he's well. So I guess before we dive into what would be any of the negatives, there was some positives, right? Navarro again, I think that's 2 in the last 2 for him. And a quick rebound goal for him. Like Jim said, it blasted off of the crossbar there. And he was quick to pounce on it. Striker's poach goal, if you will. But not only that, like the build-up to that goal, I want to say was a bit against the run of play. But the build-up to that goal was just fucking amazing. Sorry, Crash. Was very amazing. I don't know if your son could hear. Sorry. Was
I think
very
he's on mute
amazing.
now.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what that means though.
Oh no, that just means you took the camera off. So when you do that, your camera is off.
Okay.
Yeah. No. The goal for me looked like it was against the run of play, but it was very good build up. Navarro lays it off to Bassett, but you see, like even before he lays it off, he kind of did this little touch to break up some space between him and the defender. Sends it to Cole Bassett, who just thunder blasts it off of the crossbar, and it was close enough to the end of the first half. I think it was like the 39th minute or something like that, 40th minute, where I'm thinking, what a perfect way to go into the half. At this point, bro, we were getting pelted with shots still. And in my reaction video, I was just so kind of one-dimensional on the fact that we blew the lead and just how everything had happened, that it totally blew my mind or spaced my mind out. That another positive, Zach Steffen was freaking monster for us on the day. He kept us in that match. Even it could have been a lot more. And I remember that because the homie Rob was said, he's part of the goalkeeper union, and said Zach Steffen had what a wonderful game. And I thought to myself, damn, how selfish of me to like just focus so much on the negatives. That, like, you're right. If it wasn't for Zach Steffen, we would have got pwned, my homies, even more. Crash. You're on mute, brother.
There we go. I had to mute it on my side. Sorry. I think the one thing it was is Zach had an amazing game. Listening to the game, I'm just hearing, Steffen this, Steffen there, another big save, so he kept us in this game. In reality, it should have been 4-1 going into the half. The amount of XG that Philly had compared to us was just pretty, uninspiring from our perspective, but it just showed that Steffen, he's ready to play. And I think he has a goal of playing in that World Cup next year. And he wants Potch and the whole USMNT to know he's the top goalie that they can choose from. And I think he's trying to prove that point, no matter what happens with the Rapids, honestly. And I think he's really showing it. I think if anything, I felt bad that he was, he's from Philly, if I'm not mistaken, and all his family were there,
Mhm.
and he at least put on a show for them and showed that he's still capable of playing well. I mean, I think you can only look to maybe that last third goal that was conceded as maybe a mistake on his part. It did,
Mhm.
he did have his body on it, and it did kind of squeak through. But at that point, I mean, you can't really fault him at that. If there's no pressure on that ball, once it gets
You
to
know,
him, it's I think Cole was out of gas and just could. He was the only one defending in that point. So, it is
you
what
know,
it is. But yeah, he was definitely the bright spot of the game. I think if you look at the ratings between the team, you had Hoffa up top and Zach in the back were the
the
only
bottom.
positive signs on the entire team. Everywhere in between was pretty much lackluster.
It was just an off day. You could just tell that, like, we scraped to halftime, literally one nil up, and it was only a matter of time. When the first one happened, and you're thinking to yourself, it was coming. It was definitely coming. Um, another set piece goal that we've given up. Jay, what do you think about that, Jim? I mean, we're not necessarily keeping our shape when it comes to these set pieces. Like I said, another set piece goal that we've given up. This time they did like the quick layoff, and then he bounced it back. The guy, fair play to the Philadelphia team. I mean, they definitely showed their class both defensively and offensively that match. I say offensively, they couldn't score in a fucking brothel crash. I'm not even joking, bro. That's how bad their chances were at the beginning. Like, they were blowing them
Mhm.
over the bar, like from 6 yards out, dude. And I'm like, this is the best case scenario for us. Score another one, but it just didn't
Yeah.
materialize for us, my homies. Rob says that Zach Steffen could definitely play for a national team. I agree. He does get the
Mhm.
minutes. He's just not the out and out starter that he's probably vying for that position. Um,
Yeah, he's been lucky on
any
unlucky on injuries for
He's
sure.
been
I
getting
think.
hurt every
And just,
camp.
yeah, yeah. If he can stay healthy in camp, he would have started the All Gold Cup if he hadn't got that injury. In my
I
opinion,
don't know what they're doing over
um,
there if they're
right? I
if they're
agree.
kicking if they're kicking bowling balls or not.
Yeah,
So
but
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, the Rapids don't have the best training facilities, so I would
no,
imagine the
no.
U.S. would. So
Right.
if he's getting injured at camp, I'd be more
God knows
concerned than anything else.
God knows what's going on. Yeah.
But
Rob
anyway,
says,
yeah. I
is
mean, I
this a,
think
a managerial issue though? Because surely you should set up for those issues.
I think
For the Rapids, it might. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there was some good Twitter conversations. I think back and forth in our group, talking kind of about this, and I think you look at it, and in reality, Armis he's playing the players he has, right? I
Yeah.
think his philosophy, I think him as a manager and a coach, I think he's got the qualities you'd want. I think he's connecting with the players. But you look at the performances, and some of that isn't coaching ability. I mean, that's the players on the field have to make plays. They have to,
Mm.
they're in the right places, but they're making bad passes, or they're not making the right decisions. So you could look back potentially at is it a coaching thing? I don't quite see it yet, just because of the caliber of teams that we're playing against, and I think we're not
True.
living to our potential as players. Um, and so the tactics and the formation and kind of the approach, I think, comes from the manager, and it's up to the players to deliver that. And I just don't think that they have the quality players on the field to really to do that style of play proper with the quality of the other teams out there.
And it's, you made a good point, and two, I'll add to that. It's he's facing an uphill battle too when, we have to bring in more players. And if we're not going to be doing that adequately enough and you see other teams doing that, you know what I mean? We're not helping. The Rapids aren't helping his case, you know what I mean? It seems like we're trying to, my homies, don't get me wrong.
Mm.
And I think this shows even added faith in the Chris Armas system. You know what I mean? They're showing the faith at least. I did hear somewhere how they're Crash. I don't. It might have been one. It might have been one of your posts, bro, on X. But somebody, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it says how somebody kind of touched on how they're not necessarily rushing to extend the contract. You know what I mean? Of Chris Armas, but there's necessarily no murmurings of Armis is it that time yet? You know what I mean? So he's kind of like dab in the middle, but it's like it's leaning more towards the club definitely want to back this guy. The fans absolutely love Chris Armis, you know what I mean? The players play for Chris Armis. I think once you start losing the locker room and shit like that, that's when it's time to start thinking of anything else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not a Chris Armas issue ultimately, and in my years of watching this team, it's been a coaching issue to an extent, but there's always been the roster build.
Yeah.
There's always been the roster build. And so we have to look at the circumstances that Chris Armas went through this year. We had a useless designated player who was not doing anything the entire season, which is a wasted slot to begin with. We have a lack of depth on the bench compared to other MLS teams. If you remember a few weeks ago, we played New England Revolution, who are kind of a mid team, but they brought on Maxi Urruti and he changed the game with Carlos Gil. Those are the type of players that you need to bring on. And unfortunately, the Rapids have not really had that bench depth. And that's ultimately what prevents them from being a not just a perennial playoff team, but a strong playoff team in the playoffs. Not a team that gets
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
bounced out in the first round. And I'm still not very convinced that the people who are making the decisions above Chris Armas have actually done a good job themselves. And it's worth calling out because this is another coaching hire. They gave him a short leash to begin with, 2-year deal, which is relatively short, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that there's no depth is really Armis's Achilles heel or his big struggle right now.
Yeah.
Um, and you have to talk to Porrick Smith and Fran Taylor about that. I don't. That's
Yeah.
honestly who it comes down to. Fran has his models. If I understand that Fran had models back in the day that worked really well for Arsenal,
Mm-hmm.
which is why he's where he is today. I would say that maybe it's time to question some of these things and start to wonder if it's just above the coaching, if it has to do with the actual usage of resources. I understand that the front office is also very hampered by the fact that ownership doesn't really put a lot of money into them too. So it's a spiral effect, and
Of
unfortunately, the
course.
first guy, the first guy that's going to get fired is the head coach.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. I would say that Armis is in an extremely pressuring situation right now. He's trying to earn a contract, but he's also trying not to get fired at the same time. And I haven't seen too many calls for firing, but I've seen this before where it's like the first year is good and then the second year is just a disaster class. And it's not fallen apart yet, but it's like we're hanging on by three fingers, right? We're barely doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, just kind of weird times. The Philadelphia game obviously was going to be a hard one,
Yeah.
but I would say that the Leagues Cup run, I don't give an absolute rat's ass what happens in the Leagues Cup run. The MLS kind of results are what ultimately dictates my personal feelings towards keeping Armis or not.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I agree. And I think you go back to the depth, you know, you look at, I mean, just looking at the Philly game, at how it kind of came about. Their two main subs that came on, were a midfielder that had a 7-point rate, 7.1 rating. And then Mikel Ure
Yep,
had to
Michael
Hooray.
Era.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was their man of the match. We
Change
had
games
no
off the
difference
bench.
maker. We have
Yep.
nobody that's, granted we had Ollie, good solid player, but not the player who's going to be changing a game. We had
Right.
Yappy, who was coming on, but coming on as a winger, and I don't know if they changed the formation at that point when he came on at the 75th minute. He wasn't going to change a game in that way. And then you've got Sam Bassett in the 83rd, who came on right before
Don't get me
right
started.
after the goal. Again, my concern is like, not that Sam's not a bad player, but he's not your bench. He's not your depth piece. He isn't the person you're bringing on to close out a game, or so. And I think that's the concern that I have, especially when you're seeing all of you saw a defensive back line that was really terrible. QD Pietro did not have the game for whatever reason that he's had in the past 6 games or so. And I agree, like B-Ray just right. Why Sam and not KSB? Why didn't KSB travel? Why is Alex Harris?
Why not? Yeah,
right?
I'm tired of these criminally given Sam minutes. I like the kid. And I was his whole press conference and everything. But it's like, dude, there's just other guys there. There's other guys there that I think that most people think too. Could make a bigger impact. And maybe this is a long-term thing. Let's play Sam now and get the minutes now, and maybe he'll be great later. But it's like, we're barely a playoff team. Like, we can't be doing that right now. We have to be playing competitive rosters. And I don't know what it is, but it seems like Chris Armis's usage of Sam Bassett has been a little too much this season. And it's not a harp on Sam. It's not that I question his quality. It's not that I question anything about Sam Bassett, but it's just the fact of the matter is the status of player that he is. There, there's just other guys there that I think would make a better impact, like Kamani Stewart-Baines, who I haven't seen much of, and he's shown the ability. I don't see where the disconnect there is, why he's not traveling more, why he's getting kind of Cabral treatment in some sense of just not always being there, not always playing, sitting on the bench. Maybe not as extreme as Cabral treatment. That's kind of a bad comparison, but why not him? Why not him? So
yeah, I mean, and he's not by any means a slouch. I mean, Kamani's getting national team call-ups, and he's doing really well. And R2 when he's changed some games there. And even look back to last year. I mean, he was the one who supported that comeback against LAFC. For that assist for Georgie in the dying minutes of that game. He's shown his quality. I don't know why he's not getting minutes either. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why we wouldn't be trying him. I like Sam. I think Sam's a great kid. He's my kids have met him, and he's I think he's a solid player, but he's young and he's going to get those minutes. I'm confused as to why it's happening now, and it does feel odd from a coaching standpoint that you would keep running that back. I'm not there in training every day, so I don't know. So maybe if that is a Armis decision, 100%, then maybe Armis is somebody that we need to be worried about. It would seem to me that maybe it's not. And those extra 10 minutes have always, especially for the young players and young homegrowns, those have always been kind of the rapid way, I guess you could say, is trying to get those guys minutes as any way we could. And you can look back at every year, since, and then that's the way it's been. So it seems to be more of a team directive rather than a coaching directive to get that. And
it probably is.
That'd be my only concern. Why KSB might not be getting those minutes. Maybe they don't think he's ready, or they're waiting for some reason, but that's my concern.
It's because he's not from Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
right? Like
Bassett.
that's Colorado kid, throw him out there, PR, whatever, maybe. I don't want to go that far with it because that could get me in a little bit of trouble. But just, yeah, dude, there's just a lot that doesn't make sense about it. I believe firmly that there's players who deserve it a little more, and that's where I stand on it. So,
Well, and I
I
think too is
I
like
think
Ronan being. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Well, and I think too is like when Ronan goes down, and then like our depth is in only in some of our midfielders, and I think that's the key, right? And we can't be no matter what we're doing, it's a depth problem, which is a front office problem.
well, if Rafa Navajo goes down and Yapi tweaks his ankle for 2 weeks, who plays striker?
Sam
I guess we
Bassett.
got Alex.
Sam Bassett. Sam
Sam
Bassett.
Bassett's gonna get those minutes, homie.
The logic on
Uh,
that is 9 times 2 is 18, which is his number. 9 is the number of a striker. So let's throw him out there for 90
let's
minutes.
throw him out there. Yeah, I am a
Just,
Leo, my homie. My birthday's
I don't
actually
know.
like in 2 weeks. I am a Leo. I got recognized. I was with my wife. I got recognized at the grocery store today. This guy comes up to me. He's like, "Are you the Mile High Hotspur?" And me and my wife are like, "Yeah, I am, bro."
That's so funny.
I was like, "Yo,
I don't get
can I get
recognized,
a pic?"
thankfully.
Yeah, I was like, "Can I get a picture with you, bro? Because I mean, like, I want a selfie with you, homie." It
Leo's
was
now
fucking
famous.
hilarious, homie.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we're doing it, bro. We're doing it, homie. I would much rather be at the grocery store and getting, some love instead of getting pelted with a tangerine.
That's true. That's true.
Big up, you filthy animal, the homie Greg. How you doing, bro? We're talking pitties. I sent him a message and telling him, bro, we're streaming because um like I was telling Jim, man, like this is definitely like we're doing the Monday thing, but like I just forget to reach out to the homies. I'm the last minute type, you know what I mean? Nico Hansen as a striker, you know what I mean?
Here we go.
One
Goalies make the
thing,
best strikers sometimes. Let's go. Get him some minutes.
Well, my question is,
my,
whatever happened to that rumor of the washed up? So potentially our I was about to say English, that would be an insult to them. Our Welsh and UK friends could give us a little scouting report. Who's that guy, Vassal? He
Mm-hmm.
just completely
Need some, yeah.
disappeared on the radar. Like was a hot item at one point. Like everybody was talking about it. My UK source had confirmed that they were talking to him, and then it just went radio silent.
Yeah,
Radio
I know.
silent.
It seemed an odd signing for sure.
It seemed an odd signing, but it seemed like a signing where if somebody got like crucially injured or like we had some problems or had a lot of games or just something like that, that he could
Mhm.
fill a role.
Right.
is that the guy that just got picked up by FC Twente? We were rumored to get him, and we kind of basically did all the negotiations for them, and then they ended
No,
up pipping him to the deal.
No,
nope,
it was
that
like
was
a
Stav Lemkin.
34-year-old striker, right? Wasn't it? So he was like in
Yeah,
his
Oh,
mid
okay.
34-year-old
30s.
striker Vassell. He had played
Yeah.
for a number of clubs, Sheffield Wednesday being one of them, I believe. Uh, Maybe our UK lads know him. He kind of
Oh,
bounced
I
around.
commented. I commented on your post, right? And it was the mighty Hitchworth or something like that, like the mighty. He played at like some non-league football match, and I was like, oh yes, the
Yeah,
mighty
yeah,
Homestead or something like that. Yeah,
he played at like Abbotsford West or some really
yeah,
like
dude, I think that's what it was.
low
Yeah, yeah,
level
yeah,
English side. Yeah, if that move had like Rapids desperation,
yeah.
a little bit of Zat Knight action going on there. For those who remember
Mhm.
Zat Knight, he's arguably the worst ever Rapids player. Zat Knight also English, but just a weird, yeah, not a good signing. He played for San Diego Loyal for like one
Yeah.
year and
That's right.
was
Yeah.
was okay. But that's not the kind of guys we want. Bryce Jameson would be an interesting
Yeah.
guy, but he's obviously a 26 guy. I don't think there's plans to call him up. I think his loan deal states that he has to stay there for the rest of the
Yeah, he
year or
does.
something.
He just scored his first
Yeah,
goal at
he's
Yep,
OC this past
yep,
weekend too. It was a banger.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people showed me at the bar. Um, but
Um,
but there's excitement in future places, but there's like I want excitement now, man. Like we're supposed to be a perennial playoff team. We made the playoffs last year, and it just feels like we have regressed with a young roster, and it's like, who's doing that?
I
You know what
agree.
I mean?
My
Yeah.
Yeah,
homie,
and I
my
think
homie Nick,
okay.
my homie Nick from the Roundtable Talk here, a sporting KC fan, which they just got rid of Peter Vermees, right? A couple of weeks ago. I also seen one of your tweets the other day, my homie saying that he may be the one if all things were to fail, Jays, that we may
No,
be
I was
getting a
saying
guy
that
like him,
because
bro.
that would be the type of I'm gonna curse on here. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
the type of bullshit like Rapids like washy signing that we would do, like a little bit like kind of like Chris Armas was to me at first, where it was like, okay, this guy had a like one okay year at Red Bull. Then the next year he had a very terrible mistake in the playoff, which was like talked about on MLS for like 2 weeks. But then he got fired, and then like pretty much went to Toronto and just was absolutely god awful. But that was during a season where Toronto had not played a single home game because they had to play down in, I believe, Orlando
Yeah.
because of COVID restrictions and travel and all that nonsense. And then essentially, yeah, he got fired 14 games in or something like that. And then I was just like, holy shit, we signed somebody that's proven twice to fail. It wouldn't surprise me if, something like that were to happen. Our good friend B Ray had me and him were talking before the show even started about Jim Curtin being out there and how that could really be an actual good move for the future. But I don't want to talk about future head coaches because Chris Armas
Right.
has a job still and it's potentially on the line.
Fair point. Yeah, no,
Well, and I will
big up
say
to Nick. Thank
Vermees
you
is
for
linked
joining, my
with
homie.
St. Louis.
Yeah, he's linked with St. Louis right now,
Mm.
according to Bogert, which would be a move that I would expect, just because it's in relative closeness to where he already is, I'm sure. And it's just, it's another MLS job out there. Plus, it would add to the rivalry, and I'm sure he understands that too.
Mm. Yo, my homie's just gonna switch gears now to kind of gear down. You already made your feelings known about how you feel about the Leagues Cup. I guess not necessarily how your feelings known, Jim, but at the end of the day, the MLS is the Rapids' proverbial bread and butter, if you will, right? That's where you're gonna base your performances off your ranking in the league or whatever. You know what I mean? But there's 3 games that we have to play. 2 of them at home against the first one is against Santos, second one being against Tijuana, and then the third one we travel to California to play against Cruz Azul. Um, off the rip, Crash, how far do you think we will get in this tournament? I mean, I guess that's a vague question, kind of a blunt question. How do you see us getting out of this group, or do you see us getting out of this group?
The way that this League Cup format is kind of this year, I don't see a way that we really can get out of the group, to be honest. I mean, they only take the top 4 teams out of the MLS kind of table, and that's across
Mm,
everyone. So we'd have to win all 3 games really to have a shot at being there. I don't expect that to happen. I mean, I think I think we have a shot at the 2 at home, and I'd be happy with that personally. I want to see good solid play, some get right games, and then a good solid game against Cruz Azul. I mean, that's going to be a big challenge for us. If we made it out of the group, that'd be pretty amazing. Um, but the other side of it, I don't really think we need to, because the way that only the first 3 games in kind of this group stage are in between league play, and everything else is going to be midweek games, and that
yeah.
will not bode well for us. We don't have the depth to do that amount of games, and especially through we only have after that 4 home games through the rest of the season, and we're going to need to win every one of those if we have a shot. And we have not been a proven team to win on the road, and we're going to need every chance at rest that we can. So personally, I think we just need to take these next 3 games and get right. And if we lose one, I'm not going to be upset. And I hope it's just against we lose. Maybe it's a tie. We get a draw against one of the teams, and if we got a big win away against Cruz Azul or something like that, that would be huge and probably a good ego boost. But I don't expect that.
Yeah.
Chase?
I'm a traditionalist. For those who don't know me, I'm not a Leagues Cup guy. I'm a U.S. Open Cup lifer. For those who don't know context, essentially the league had created Leagues Cup, Liga MX, Mexico's first division, to create a tournament, essentially try to bind the leagues together. But the caveat with that is because of games and travel and this, that, and the other, they got rid of U.S. Open Cup, which is essentially one of the oldest sporting tournaments in the United States for MLS teams. They kind of made it funky where some teams went in, some teams didn't. Two teams were in. It was a mess. I don't. My whole thing with this is just get through these games. Don't get hurt. Number one, play these games tough, but don't do what we did last year, where we just expel all of our fight and energy. All we get is a third place in a Champions League. Screw Champions League at this point. Like, we're not anywhere near that level. We need to make the playoffs. We need to make the playoffs. Chris Armas needs to make the playoffs. I'm sure the front office wants him to win both tournaments and everything, but it's like we cannot expel all of our energy into this tournament and then not be ready for these last, I don't know, 9 games or whatever it is, 8 games. That's kind of what happened last year. For those who don't know, is we had done really well in Leagues Cup. Then come MLS playoff time, we were gassed.
We were gassed.
Like Eric Gagne, for those baseball fans who remember, just absolutely done for. And so it's not a tournament that I'm particularly interested in going very far in this year because of where we're at. It's just, I would much rather focus on the MLS. If we were in US Open Cup, I'd be like fired up right now. I'd be like, let's beat Orange County.
These are get right games. We need this opportunity.
Find your form.
I think of it like preseason, right? Preseason games, get our form back. Hopefully we can get some new signings in.
Play Sam Bassett as much as possible. Just, that's the time to do it. Is to play Sam Bassett. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Big up to Victor tuning in. Big up, my homie. Hope you're doing well. Says a Santos a win, Tijuana is winnable, and Cruz Azul is a loss. Yeah, so basically the Leagues Cup, like Jim was saying, he touched a bit on it. I think it's It's a 4-week long tournament between 3 countries, Mexico, United States, and Canada, to determine one champion between the 2 leagues, which is the MLS, played here in the United States and in Canada, and Liga MX, played in Mexico. And it's just a mini tournament between both leagues to see, I guess more so just a money generator between the, right now. Yeah, a money generator. And because it's a fun time for football. Like, summertime is the time for the football tournament, but the MLS plays a certain
stops.
Yeah, we just play. Yeah, you know what I mean? So we don't play the normal length of a season. For example, everybody else is on summer break right now, and we're full stride in our season. You know what I mean? Full stride in our season, and about to add this mid-season tournament. So it's definitely going to shake things up. It's a newer tournament, so I could see why people are not necessarily on board with it, but at the same time, like, not against it. All valid points from you guys. You know what I mean? Let's use it to get in gear for the playoffs, because I get the argument that the playoffs for us is much more crucial than blowing our load early on in this fucking tournament. You know what I mean? We'd much rather, I guess, let's not put all our eggs into this basket like we did last season, because we kind of got out of the group. And then I don't remember how it went down, but we ended up beating America. You know what I mean? Club America. We beat a couple of other heavy hitters in our way to that third place match, where we ended up beating Philadelphia. Leon. We beat Leon. We beat Toluca. You know what I mean? We beat some good teams last season, but we blew our load. And when it came time to the domestic play, that was it. Playoff time came around, Crash. There was no Cole Bassett because he had like that injury or some shit like that was lingering. Our players were just they were just not there anymore, homie.
Yeah. Well,
Crash, I don't even think if we've recovered from that Leagues Cup run yet, my homie.
yeah, probably. You have probably a good point. Yeah, I mean, I think the key of it is we've got 3 games in the matter of a week, pretty much, between Santos Laguna to Cruz Azul on the 7th, and then we have a 3-day gap between that and the Minnesota game away. So we're going to be Cruz Azul away, and then straight into Minnesota away. The way I look at it is, if we go into that Cruz Azul game and there's not really a shot for us to advance, I want to see all the young guys playing. I want to see a full rotation. If we have some new guys in at that point, let's get them minutes, because that Minnesota game is a 100% must-win game. If we have any real shot at the playoffs, we have to win that game away, and we are not a proven away team right now by any means. So, I don't have any bearing in Leagues Cup. I'm with Jim. I think it is a money grab. I like watching the teams play. I think it's exciting. It's a good exposure if they do play well. But outside of that, it's taken away from our ability to make it to playoffs. And, we're going to have a tough stretch. We have some good potential games coming in between that, but that Minnesota game is going to be a must win. And then we have some definite winnable games in between there that we're going to have to pick up points if we have any shot at making the playoffs this year. So the next 3 games are just get right games for me.
I'm a fan of the Leagues Cup just because of what it is. Just because of what it is. You know what I mean? I agree. I like to see the different teams come in here. You know what I mean? Just the allure of, playing the Rapids playing against Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul is a giant in the Mexican League. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So
if we were sitting in 4th, I'd be like, I'm all in for Leagues Cup. Let's go for it. So we're on the bubble, and we don't have any minutes to waste on these guys' legs, and that's my concern. So,
and there's no depth if something goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. If one miss up, and we lose KDP, or we lose, Calvin. I'm not even talking about some of our better players. You know what I'm saying? Is we lose one of the 2 of our only wingers on the team, and we have no attack. We lose Mihailovic. Maybe we could make something work. We lose Hoffa for some reason. There's so many potential holes that could get taken out by one little injury that we can't perform in the next 5 or 6 games. That's it. Season's done. Call it a day.
On table, my homie Nick says he really hopes the Club World Cup opened the league's eyes to just how much they need to restructure payrolls.
Yeah, for sure.
They do not watch. The Spurs 5 does not watch my channel, bro. They just talk about me when I call them out. That's it. They only send for me when I ruffle some feathers. That's it. I caused the uproar last week, bro. I made a video just hating on some people, and it caused the uproar. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Do one, my homie. Do one. You know what I mean? If you can't have an opinion, if you can't have your own platform to say whatever you want, homie, because people try to censor you, come on, my homie. Come on. That's why we talk pitties and we talk yitties over here on the Mile High Hotspur. Jays, anything you got coming up, bro? You got anything going on? You over there with Box State Footy? Oh, before you do that, I want to send a shout out to the homie. I think her handle is Tuesday. I know her by Wednesday. Always reposting. Yeah, Sharon, always reposting our stuff. I know she's big in the Rapids community with the photography game. I know she's on board with Fuera del Aire, Box State Footy. I'm always seeing her posts. She's always reposting my stuff on X when I post this stuff. So if you happen to be seeing this, Sharon, or if at all you get, you know what I mean, I want to give you your flowers, my friend, because you're doing a lot for the Rapids. You're doing a lot for the sport. You're doing a lot for you and I like how you're always sharing the pod, so I appreciate that. Back to you, Jim.
Yeah, no, nothing going on really. Just kind of the way my role works at Box State is Juan needs a guy to come in and talk for a little bit. I'm there for him. So, but that's kind of how I roll. I'm just all over the place. Try not to get too much because then I'm, all over the place. And then everybody's like, get this guy out of here. He's not Ryan Seacrest. So, you know, I'm I'm slowly venturing towards other things,
Era necesario que me estuvieras mandando estas pinches fotos.
but I always appreciate getting on podcasts and getting on various different media, and it's always fun. It's not something I saw a million years ago, so or 10 years ago, I guess feels like a million. But
Mhm.
yeah, nothing much going on. Went to Denver Summit launch on Saturday. If I could just report on that a little bit.
Yeah. Do your thing.
So Denver Summit FC is our new women's team for NWSL, for those who don't know, which is the practically the premier women's league across the world. I've been told countless times it's like the premier league for women. So all the women want to go there, and it's a market. It's a huge market, and so Denver got a team, and it's a big ownership group separate from the Rapids, and they are very ambitious, I can say. The event was down at McGregor Square, which is just like a giant square with a big LED screen and everything. And
Mhm.
they spent a lot of money on just the branding, all the buildings up, and getting everything like properly presented. I remember the Rapids had an event there, and there was like a tent and like a couple things, and that was, it's obviously just a watch party, but Denver Summit did a great job promoting the hell out of this thing. And I would suggest that there was about 3,500 people downtown for this event. Just a
Mm.
massive uproar. A lot of families with young girls and stuff. A lot of women of all ages. People of all backgrounds. Just a really good atmosphere. And they had presented all the brand identity and um all that stuff. So this is an exciting time in Denver. And then the Rapids game was
Right.
right after that event. So a lot of the Rapids guys that went to that event, we all went down to the Celtic afterwards. So it was a big football day, so to say. A lot of different things going on, but we're excited for Denver Summit, and it's going to be a very, very ambitious ownership group. So I expect big moves to be made soon.
Nice. I'm gonna drop your well, I guess your handle on X would be at Judgmental Jim,
Yeah,
just as
yeah,
is right there.
but yeah,
Yeah,
judgmental
so if you
underscore
guys
Jim.
if you guys want to follow either Jim or Crash. Crash is at Daddy Shuttle and Jim is at Judgmental_Jim. Um, if you want to stay up to date with anything that's going on.
Mhm.
Crash, what about yourself, my homie? What you got cooking over there, bro? What you got? Anything you want to plug?
No,
Oh,
nothing to
did he?
plug. I'm excited for the Denver Summit FC. I think that's I have a daughter that also plays soccer. Her, like I said, her first practice was today. She is a massive fan of the Rapids, but to have some female heroes to see. I mean, we go to the women's national team and see Lindsay Heaps and all the girls there, out there, and they're just her heroes. So to be able to have them play each week, for her to have somebody she can look up to. I mean, her goal now is to play in that league, and to be able to have a team local
That's
to that,
dope.
and
Nice.
she's she's a 10-year-old girl who's looking for ambitions, and I'm excited for her to have that opportunity, especially when they start getting an academy built, to be able to try out for that and, have a pathway to something to even maybe be a homegrown that she never had before, so I'm in my family are super excited for this. We weren't able to make the event on Saturday, but knowing the investment that they put in, and I have an event background. That's what I do for work, putting on events just like that and seeing what they did and the capture and the pictures and everything and how it looked. They wanted to put their best foot forward, and it seems like they've been doing that the entire way. So for their first opportunity to be really in front of the public to show their new brand, they showed out, and it's a good, exciting potential for the investment for the future. So I've already got my tickets on hold for our family. I'm excited for them. I think for me, just that alone, just be able to take my daughter and say, hey, look, you could be there one day. That's my goal for her, and give her something to strive for. So other than that, I'm a youth soccer coach. I also coach girls as well. So I coach U9 girls. So to be able to point to that as a potential for them to look up to as well is huge. I mean, we always do a Rapids night out with my girls where we go see the teams play, to be able to switch that over and see the female team play, the Denver Summit play, which would be amazing. So I'm excited for the heroes of the girls I coach to look up to as well. So all good things for that, and they're doing an epic job. I can't wait to get my own Denver Summit hat. I can replace this every once in a while.
Yeah, the merch,
but
dude,
really
the merch was sick, and all Nike branded, so all top quality. But the merch line went from like McGregor Square all the way to like Coors Field. Like I'm talking hundreds of people, and shirts and stuff were starting at $40-$50. So they definitely made their money. I would have gotten a shirt had I not had a few drinks and didn't want to wait in line and all that nonsense. But let's just talk about the branding real quick. Because the branding came out a few days ago and it looks really good. The color schemes, it's a bunch of different colors going on, and if they kind of had like this color palette graphic that showed
It's a good palette. It's a good palette, Jim.
Yeah, all the Pantones of all the different, and like honestly, the colors are really interesting. If it's green, kind of like this kit that I'm wearing, maybe a little lighter, but I'm a big fan of the branding. I'm a big fan of all the things that they've done. They've clearly learned how to talk to the market after possibly some Rapids mistakes. I've heard some rumblings that former Rapid staff had tried to apply it there, and they essentially kind of shut that down right away. So they're clearly trying to go a completely different direction in already previous soccer. They're clearly trying to do things their way, and it's a huge ownership with Peyton Manning involved, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Yep, there it is. So you have the Denver Summit West right there, and then you have the 52 logo fonts and different like graphics. But yeah, it's an overall very good scheme. There's a big D that's similar to like the old school Broncos D, but it's a little more modernized, and it kind of has that similar font to the 5280 there. But yeah, just kind of an interesting kind of new thing for us soccer fans to maybe get a new take on. And but there's a lot of people like me who were not into women's soccer or had no knowledge of it who are now going to grow into it. And so that only enhances the game as there's more teams and more opportunities for players. So I'm excited for it. The stadium's going to be sweet. It's not too far from where I'm at, so it's going to be a contrast to my current experience, which is driving up to an industrial part of Denver, parking in a giant parking lot, hoping that it's not going to hail that night, and then essentially just trying to get out of there as quick as I can. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be fun getting on the train going down to Denver Summit games in 3 or 4 years. So I'm excited
Yep.
for that.
A big up
Absolutely
to the
agree.
homie Benny. San Diego FC says we're winning it all. What do you think of your chances in Leagues Cup, my homie? Before we end off, let me know if you think you guys have a good chance in Leagues Cup. And to answer Rob, he said you got the new away shirt, the new Spurs all blacked out away shirt. I did order it. I got the sunny on the back. I don't know why I did that, as I think he's probably going to be heading for another black jersey, a black and gold of LAFC here soon. So I did do that. I think 135 pounds for a t-shirt for a jersey crash is expensive, bro. For
I mean, yeah,
a jersey, that's expensive, homie.
yeah. I mean, that's the converting. It's probably about as much as our kits are here as well, about
Yeah.
180
150,
US.
150, 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
lot of money.
yeah. When you look at it at the end of the day, it is a bit pricey, but when you got a club you want to support, sometimes you shell those things out. I will say, going back to a jersey, and I think I mentioned this the other day. Um, I did see the report that Summit FC did get their customized kit to Nike before the deadline, so they will have a new kit, and their own custom first year kit won't be just generic. And I will be shelling out whatever money it is for that kit for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I like the
Take
green.
my money.
I even like the Rapids green. I like the Rapids kit. I think if I'm gonna get a Rapids kit this season, it will be the green one. I wasn't too sold
I'm
on
not
it,
big.
but
I'm not
after,
big on it.
bro,
I liked it.
it'll grow on you.
I just don't the collar, man.
I
It's the
liked
collar.
it until I
Can't
saw
get
it in
rid of
Collar.
it.
person, and then I was like, ugh. Like you got to
Well,
get
I'm
that
gonna.
thing tight fit, or else it's baggy as
Oh
all hell.
no, never mind.
Me,
I don't
me
want to look
tight
like a
fit.
sausage, bro.
I'm not big, so if I wear like something oversized, then I look like a moo over me.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't rock tight shit, bro. I
now
can't rock tight shit, bro.
Now, the one kit that I got bad size was this kit here you see on Jokic. Dude, have you ever seen this? It's the bald eagle with
The New Day.
Jokic and Rapid Man. It's like
That's
memes
dope.
one of my friends created. But anyway, that kit, the New Day kit, had cost like ridiculous amounts of money when I bought it. And I never wear it because the color scheme on it doesn't match with anything that I own. So, like for me, I try to buy kits that look good outside of football matches and outside because a lot of
Mhm.
people will come up to me and say like, "What's that?" And that's cool. Uh, a lot of times, a lot of my Portsmouth kits, people ask me like, "What the fuck is that?" So, um, yeah, it's a lot of cool
Let's do that.
experiences wearing kits, and so um, a lot of the Rapids kits appeal to me. The new water kit, it just the color scheme on it is weird outside of going to a Rapids game. Like I can't wear that at the club. I can't wear that at a concert. It's gonna get a stain on it. So
Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
Well, I will say the nice thing
it's
about the Headwaters kit, it does hide stains really well. Coming from a dad who has kids who
it's
True.
like to have
yeah,
ice cream and
yeah,
stuff
because
all
it
the
already
time,
looks like
it's
it's stained with oil. Yeah.
exactly.
That's
It's
true.
stained from the Suncor oil that's pouring down into Sand Creek next to the stadium there.
There you
But
go.
The
yeah, it's just,
refinery.
a lot of the kits aren't for me. A lot of the templates are a little uninspiring. And that's kind of how I felt about the green one. Is just a little bit of an uninspiring template. They could have maybe like, added the stripes from back in the day or the sleeves from back in the day, or just
Yeah.
make try to make it a little more, yeah. So
We've definitely talked on the channel how it does seem like a generic like when you build your own career or you build your own club in FIFA, like you get like the
it's
starter
just you get the
pack.
shitty
It
kit.
does
Yeah,
it does give those vibes, but um I'm a fan of it because of like what it represents. You know what I mean? The Marcelo
sure.
Balboa era here for the Pids. Like that green is an iconic Rapids green kind of jersey. You know what I mean? So, and if we're going for that 30-year rewind or whatever, I thought like that's the reason why I'm like on board with it. You know what I mean? Had it just been like this one-off, we're gonna try and do this retro vibe, then I would have been like, yo, why are you guys trying to, coattail the nostalgia? But I think they did good. I'm not even a fan of the round headwaters of this one right here. I don't know if you can see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that
I
of that
like that
purple.
logo. I like that
See?
crest, me personally. But, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah.
Did
No,
You're
did you
supposed
guys
to
know how much longer Adidas has on lock?
forever. I'll be
Yeah,
walking in a
expect forever.
cane and wheelchair by the time Adidas finally gives way. And um, I wish, clubs could negotiate separately. I've always been on that train. Like, why can't the Rapids get like a Joma kid or something, right? Like be weird with it. But nope, we're locked with Adidas, and we get generally rubbish templates from the most part, or league-wide templates that everybody has that just they change the colors in
Yeah.
slightly,
2030.
or 2030. So I will be 40 some I will be 35 years old, uh, which isn't that old, I guess. So it shows how young I am. Jesus. But yeah, it's gonna be a long time, and there's gonna be a lot of rubbish plain white kits and plain boring kits with healthcare sponsors on them. Jim is in the wheelchair sports section. That's exactly true. I'd be in the supporter section in a wheelchair, like sneaking a bunch of weed in because I don't care at that point. And yeah, just having a good old time. Probably not drinking. Um, I'm probably gonna quit drinking at 30. So 30's coming August 31st of this year, which is Kansas City, I believe, coming up there. So might do an away day. 2030, I'll
In the
probably
wheelchair?
be on my second set of
Yeah.
knees. In a wheelchair too. In a wheelchair
Yeah.
too. I'll be right next to him. But I don't like that whole thing of like not letting teams have a little bit of customization, or like, having a local company come in, like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Judgmental Jim Sportswear, pops up and says, hey, let's, make some kits for the Rats. Maybe we used AI to design them, but like, just do something different, man.
Yeah. No, I
Different.
No,
agree.
I
So
agree.
that's where I stand.
Well,
I
my
love the
homies,
Charlie kit.
yeah, the Emeakis has. We were talking about that earlier. Emeakis has some good jerseys. Big up to Rob Patterson. Thank you for joining the stream, my homie. He says, "Love you guys. Amazing chat as always." He's gonna take his doggo out and then he's going to bed because it's got to be
I
very
don't blame
late
him.
out there in Wales or very early. So big up, my homie. I appreciate all the support for that you have been showing the channel, my homie. Massive appreciation to you, bro. Um, Nick, my homie, get some rest, bro. Get some rest. We will be in contact, my homie. And Jim, don't go anywhere, my homie. When we close this out, just stick around, bro.
I got you.
Yeah.
No worries.
All right, my homies. Have a good one. Is Rob, what do you say? Oh, Rob is fully yes, Rob is a Rapids fan, converted. We're doing it, my homies.
Augustus!
Let's go. Let's go.